Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. For this review, we're going to take a look at the Mafex No.038 Deadshot action figure from the Suicide Squad. So starting with the packaging here, you've got a very nice and big window, so you can see the figure and accessories inside. Unfortunately, as you can see, my figure comes pre-decapitated. I think the tray was not properly clipped on, so all the accessories have kind of fallen out of place as well. That's unfortunate, but I don't think it's damaged. And with this packaging, you've got a nice bright lime green background, which really makes the figure pop, so that's really nice. Around to the side, Suicide Squad logo, picture of Deadshot, back, some photos of the figure. This side, Suicide Squad, shot of the figure again, and on the top, Suicide Squad logo, and the window wraps around to the top, and the bottom, some company information. Now let's get this open and have a look at the inside of the packaging. As you can see, the front cover wasn't properly clipped on, so all of my accessories have kind of just fallen out of place. But I'll get this all out of here and then we can have a look at the accessories in more detail. And here's the head. And here are the accessories that Deadshot comes with. He comes with an optional head. So this one's quite nicely sculpted. It's got that scope sticking out of his eye. It's really nice. And he comes with his special pistol. Nicely molded, nicely painted. Lots of little tiny gold paint detail there. Nice and rigid. And he comes with a pair of black pistols. I'm not exactly sure about the model of this pistol, but it is very nicely detailed and it looks quite realistic in terms of design. And he gets a pair of those, and he also comes with a little fighting knife. Pretty basic in design, but it's well molded with some texture on the handle. And for his hands, he gets a pair of knife holding hands, and the first pair is for him to hold the knife pretty much straight up and down. And then he also gets a pair of slightly forward-facing knife-holding hands. So you can see the knife is kind of pointed forwards with this pair. And just coming back to the first pair of knife-holding hands, I think you can also hold the front of the rifle handle with this pair. So that's good, you get a pair of those. And he comes with a pair of relaxed open palm hands and a pair of slightly different relaxed open palm hands. Maybe you can put use this as the rifle barrel holding hand as well, possibly. And last but not least, he gets a pair of trigger finger hands for his various weapons. Just chuck a pistol in there, and it appears to hold the gun nice and tight, and there's no wiggling there. And last but not least, he comes with his rifle, which is very intricately painted. It's got a lot of nice little detail, and on the barrel you can see the phrase I am the light, the way. So it's very nicely printed on there. And coming around to the figure, I'll just show you how to do the head swap. So pretty simple swap, just pop the head off. It's a little ball joint in there, and then just squish the masked head on. And the masked head, it's actually one piece, so there's no neck joint at the base of the head, whereas the head is actually, well, the naked head has a separate neck piece. And changing the hands over, pretty simple, very little tiny peg there, so just be careful not to break that. And just gently push the optional hand on, and you can put a weapon in his hand. And speaking of the weapons, the good news is all the weapons, apart from the rifle, has a storage space on the body. So on the side here on his thighs, he can store his special weapon gun, And on the back, you've got space for 2 of the pistols, and you can actually hear it click into place. So that's really cool. And down here, in the inside of his leg, you've got a space for his knife. And now for a closer look at the figure, I'm just going to bring in the optional head here so you can see it side by side with the naked head. And so far for this figure, I actually prefer the unmasked head. I think it's got a lot more character to it. This one kind of looks like he's got a bit of a sleepy eye, so I'm probably going to just put this aside. And in terms of the head sculpt, it's got a very good likeness to Will Smith. Nicely painted beard there. An eye. The face does seem a little bit on the thin side, but it's not too bad. Lots of nice little print detail here. On the collar you can see I am the light, the way printed there. Nice sculpting on the armor pieces. Everything is very sharply sculpted on the back as well. You can even see some Kevlar print on there. And nice sculpting on the arms. Lots of little tiny intricate detail. You can even see some printing there on his gauntlets. See if you can see that. And again, I think it says I am the light, the way. And on this body, he's got tons of clips. Sadly, these are not removable, but they do look very, very nice. And they are a tiny bit soft, so they do move out of the way. And he's got even a little carabiner or clip painted and sculpted in there. And his holster on the back rotates up and down. Not sure what for, but it does. And the gun on the thigh sits a little bit loose, but I guess it's okay if you don't invert the figure upside down. Oh, okay, stays in there still, so not too bad. And he's got these clips on the side which are hinged. Not sure exactly what that's for, but maybe it's for him to grab the clips more easily. Nice sculpting of the pants, buckles, knee pads. There's some weathering on the knee pads, which is quite nice. Some realistic weathering kind of effect painted on there. Nice lace detail there on the front. And with articulation, let's take a look at the masked head first. So because it doesn't have a neck piece, it's going to be a little bit restricted in how much it can move. So it can move, or it can look up. Oh, okay, it's just come off. It can look up about that much and down that far, and a tiny bit of tilting from side to side and all the way around, of course. And back to the unmasked head. So with the unmasked head, he can look up that far, down that far. It's got side to side tilting and all the way around, of course. So much more range than the masked head. With his shoulders, he's got a bit of a butterfly joint here happening because the ball joint goes quite deep into the torso, so that's kind of good. And he can lift up his arm that high, down to there, all the way around, and bicep swivels. He's got double jointed elbow, but it only gives him slightly more than 90 degrees. And he's got pin and hinge for the wrist, so all the way around and then in and out. And for his torso, he's got a joint up here in the diaphragm section, which allows him to crunch forward that far and back that far. So pretty good backwards, but not so much forwards. And then he's got some tilting from side to side. But as you can see here, the armor plating does interfere a little bit, so make sure you don't do it too often, otherwise you might chip the top of the ab armor. And in terms of waist joint, he's got rotation there, but you can't go all the way around because everything here kind of gets stuck, and it allows him to also crunch forward and back, and also some side to side. So good range in the torso region. And for the legs, he's got leg extension, so he can extend his legs down that far, which allows him to do that much of a split. And he can also kick forward that much and back to about there. And this crutch piece here is actually kind of soft, so you can squish it out of the way when you try to articulate the legs. And thigh swivel up here in the top, and double jointed knees gives him a very good bend. But as you can see, the knife has just fallen out, so make sure you don't lose that. And no rotation at the top of the boots, but he can turn his feet all the way around, point it down that far, up that far, and bit of ankle pivot, not huge, but it is there. And he's got a toe joint that kind of is very tight, so not sure how much you can actually use that joint, to be honest. It's very tight. Okay, I can't even get mine to move. And in terms of height, he stands about 17 centimeters, which is about 6.69 inches to the top of the head. And now for some size comparisons. First up, here he is with DC Multiverse Deadshot, Mafex Harlequin, Mafex BVS Batman, Mezco 112 Collective BVS Batman, SS Figure Arts Harlequin, DC Icons Superman, and finally Marvel Legends Cyclops. One thing I did forget to mention earlier is that he also comes with the standard Mafex style display stand, and I find these to be very good. Actually, I prefer these over the Bandai ones. But anyway, on to my final thoughts. I think this guy looks absolutely gorgeous. He's got so much detail on him, and I love the tactical design of his suit. The red really stands out and makes him pop. Yeah, he's just really nicely made. The joints are all nice and fluid feeling, and they don't feel like anything's going to pop out, unlike the earlier Mafex figures. So I think the QC on this guy is quite good. I do want to point out that when you're swapping the hands over, do be careful, as the wrist pegs are very thin and they seem quite delicate. So just make sure you push the hands on nice and straight to prevent any breakages. And that's it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time for another toy review.